Hi guys, and in this video we're going to be learning about kind of further managing AutoCAD. So it's taking managing AutoCAD like a boss to like a boss 2.0. So let's get into this and we're going to go right into options. Just note this can be confusing and hard to follow. It's even really hard to kind of record this. But I'm going to do my best to try to fully explain it in detail as to why I manage it the way I do. So sit back and let's start right now. So first things first is we're going to type in OP and get to options. I don't care how you get there, you just have to get to options. I'm telling you to type in OP enter, but note there's like 18 different ways to get to it probably. And you know what? I am not going to go through every way possible. So OP enter, boom, we're right there. Now, first things first is, what we're about to do is going to require a lot of organization on your part. So let's see how I organized my CAD structure. So let me pull up my CAD standards folder here, and here it is right here. So as you can see, I kind of have things organized a certain way. So first of all, I have something called blocks, which are all my blocks, my commonly used drawings that go into drawings. My custom user interface, because I like to take this with me, and you'll see why in a moment. I have all the AutoCAD default settings. A, I am a professor at a local community college, and B, I like to do these videos, so I like to set things back to the way they look out of the box. So I keep a copy of the defaults for most items as well for AutoCAD and Civil 3D. I have details, I have plot styles, and that'll become important probably as you go further into AutoCAD and you start learning to where you want to use a CTB file, which is a color table, or an STB file, which is a color table kind of using the object and other things. You'll see that it's a whole nother video and a whole nother explanation. You'll see support files here. This is for files like your line types, any custom line types you may or may not have made yet. Custom hatches, like I use a lot of unit lock hatches because I'm a civil engineer, so a lot of what I do comes from different things. So that's a hatch pattern for these pavers that some clients would like to see. It makes it look more authentic, and it kind of gives it that really kind of cool look. So I do have stuff like that, and that's where all it goes. It goes in your support folder. I have my template files. These are my drawing template files to be more exact, as well as some Sheetset Manager template files are in here as well. But just concentrating on the drawing template files, these are all my commonly used setups, whether I'm doing engineering, survey, or a mix of two. So I have 3 templates. One is kind of both of them together, and then one for each individualized. And inside of there, it has all my layers, all my title blocks, all my dimension styles, all of that fun stuff is in there as well. I also take a copy of tool palettes with me because I customize my tool palettes to include all of my blocks and stuff on it. I really don't use too many of the Civil 3D or AutoCAD default tool palettes. So you'll note I'll have a folder for that as well. So this is my current organization setup. Your setup should be at least similar, not exact. Everybody's mind works a little bit differently, and you might be at a company who does it a different way. But either way, you want to know where all these kind of files are stored. And if they're stored strewn about the server, kind of hone them back in and kind of get them back into one place. All right, so let's dive in here. So first things first, we're going to be on the Files tab here almost the whole entire video. So let's add a support file search path. So let's go to Add, and then we're going to go to Browse, and let's find a support file search path. So I'm going to add a file here. So let's cruise on over to my AIMCAD standards. Now, if you notice, I'm using OneDrive. So what that does is it syncs across all my computers, all my files. So as long as OneDrive is installed in the exact same location everywhere, I can have my files on my laptop, my computer, at work, wherever I'm at. I always have all of my setups. So again, OneDrive, that's kind of what I use. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to look for CAD standards at the bottom. There's my AIMCAD folder. Perfect. And under here, I'm going to select the support folder and hit OK. I did go to one company that had their entire support network selected in there, which it would work, right? It's going to select everything in there, but just note it's got to look at all those files in there, and if one person puts one bad apple in there, it's going to ruin the whole bunch. So don't do that. Kind of separate it out. Kind of try to be as organized as possible. Again, this is under the support file search path, and I'm going to put that there. So anytime I create line types, hatches, or anything custom, even Lisp routines, stuff of that nature, I'm going to put it in my support folder, and I'll never have to worry about it not loading. All right, so moving right down the line here, and I'm trying to make this as quick as possible so this video is not like 50 minutes. So hopefully I can get it down to 15. But again, use that pause button. Slowly kind of come up with your own process on this. I'm just kind of showing you what a good workflow is. All right, so coming down here to customization files, this is where your CUI is held. Now, you might be saying, well, Brandon, how do I create my own custom CUI? So this is the easiest way to do this. So as I always tell people, it's better to start from something than nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy AutoCAD's default CUI, and I'm going to put it on my network drive. And that way, when I customize it, I'm going to be customizing it on my network drive, and then it follows with me wherever I go. So here's how to do it, the easiest way. Now, if you're really good with Windows Explorer, you can type and go kind of through this whole path here, but I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to get right to where we need to go. So first of all, it's going to include kind of clicking inside that blue area there, or clicking on it, getting it to kind of highlight like this. And then I'm going to take everything from C users to that last backslash there. I'm not going to take the AIMCAD part. That AIMCAD part is part of kind of what we'll need a bit later, but I don't want it right now. So I just want to go to the folder that holds it, and the folder that holds it is this support. So I'm going to kind of highlight this here, exactly what you see. I'm going to right click and go to copy, and then I'm going to hit the Windows key and R at the same time. When you do that, it'll pull up run. Now again, that's the Windows key and R at the same time, or you can get to run however you like to get to it. And then I'm going to go right in here, I'm going to hit Control V, and I'm going to paste it in and hit enter. And that's going to take me right to where I want to go here, and you'll see everything right here for AIMCAD. So I'm going to kind of copy all this stuff here and then put it into my default location, and then I'm going to path to it. The default location, and again, for those of you who are wondering what the default location is, again, I'm going to go to it once more because it kind of looked like it bugged out a little bit there. So again, you're going to kind of select all this, Control C, or right click and go to copy, hit Windows and R together, hit Control V, that's paste, so you could right click and go to paste. Look at here, and you're going to copy these top three right here. So right click, copy. And then you're going to put those under your CAD standards folder, under CUI, and I'm going to overwrite mine. Why not? I don't really have anything in there. So Control V, I'm going to replace files and destination. And there we go. So now I have a copy of the default main CUI for AutoCAD now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click browse, and I'm going to browse to my new location for that folder. So I'm going to go over here now to AIMCAD, CAD standards, AIMCAD, CUI, and I'm going to pick the AIMCAD CUIX and hit open. And if you notice now, it's pathed to my OneDrive, which is what I want. All right, so again, that just kind of makes it so that whenever I customize it now, and whatever computer I go to and I point to there, I'm going to always have my latest AutoCAD settings. Again, it's going to get confusing, but gonna just kind of go with it. Do you have to do this? No. The only reason you may want to take your CUI is if you customize it and create customized buttons like the ones I'm kind of pointing to in the top left-hand corner. If you notice, my home is all in caps. I believe I customized that one a while ago, and then I think it's more default still though. And this one here, I made a what I call my super save button, which you'll see in one of the previous videos, just kind of a quick way to save. Anyways, so you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to, or if you're at a company where you have a lot of users who like to create their own customizations, this would be a quick, easy way to manage it and kind of put it on your network in their own little kind of, each one of them has their own little personal shared location. So this way, when you reinstall AutoCAD and you give them a new computer, they can get all their old settings back. All right, so kind of moving a little bit along here, we're going to go to printer file search support path. Now, there's a few different rules of thought on here. First of all, you probably won't change the spooler location, but these three here are usually up for grabs. This one here is if you or your company uses PC3 files. What a PC3 file is basically a copy of a Windows driver that kind of narrows down either A, certain paper sizes, B, certain types of paper along with set sizes, or C, maybe more unique items, like you can have one that plots in color and one that plots in black and white. Something along that nature. So if you use that, you'll be using these right here. And you'll create a plotters folder somewhere, and your PC3 files and PMP files will be in there. If not, and you're fine using the Windows drivers like myself, I just use this one here. It is the plot style table search path. And that will be browsed to wherever you house your STB or CTB files. So for me, again, I'm going to browse to my AIMCAD standards folder, which is located on my OneDrive because, again, I like it to sync across all of my computers. And I'm going to go to AIMCAD here, and I'm going to go to plot styles and hit OK. Now, I always like to hit apply as I go. You don't have to, but it's just something that kind of was burnt into my mind. So the next file location here, I'm going to uncollapse that, is this right here. It's under automatic save. So let's say you have a jump drive and all your CAD standards are on that, like you're at a school, and you get home and your drawing's corrupted. And you're like, oh man, I wish I had that quick save. Well, that quick save is on a school computer sometimes. And what do schools do? They usually format at the end of the night. They re-put their computers back to the way they were before all the students went and tinkered with them. So at least that's what they do at my college. So if you path this to go to a temp folder on your jump drive, then you would always have your quick saves with you as well. So just in case your drawing was corrupted, you could kind of get it back. It's just one little kind of quick tip or trick. Now, remember, this may slow down your computer. So if you're noticing a horrendous lag and you're going to get a coffee break every 30 minutes, it's probably because of this. So probably set that back to go to a C drive location. All right, so moving right along into the next most important spot is your template setting location. So this is where your templates are going to be held. So when I go to File New, if you remember, it kind of pulls up a list of templates, right? Well, they're AutoCAD's templates. So how do I get it to pull up a list of just my templates? This is where you would do it. So where it says Drawing Template File Location, you would go to Browse, and you would set it to look at your location. So again, AIMCAD, and I would go to CAD Standards, AIMCAD again, of course, and Templates, and hit OK. So now it's going to open up that folder every time. Now, I'm not going to worry about the sheet set stuff right now, but I will worry about when I type in QNew, meaning when AutoCAD opens up for the first time, which template is it using by default? Right now, it's just a blank template. It has nothing in it, right? But wouldn't it be nice if it just started with the one with your title block and everything in it? Or when you just typed in QNew, which is quick new, it just, boom, create a new drawing with your template. You didn't even have to select it. Well, to do that, it's right here. You'll see it right here. Drawing template file location for QNew. It says none right now. So we're going to browse and we're going to go over to the AIMCAD folder, CAD Standards, AIMCAD. You can kind of see it's getting awfully repetitive. Templates, and I'm going to select my template, aim.dwt, and hit open. And again, I always hit apply and OK. You don't have to. It's just something that's been burnt into my memory. And again, I didn't hit OK. I did not hit OK, just in case. You did. So if you did, I apologize. Open options back up. All right, so coming to our next location. Now again, if you don't use tool palettes, move right along. But if you do customize the tool palettes and you want it to sync to every computer or your workspace, or maybe you have a company and you have a standard tool palette with all your blocks on it and you want to share it with all the users, then pay attention, as this is basically the way you're going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing I did for the CUI files. I'm going to click in here, I'm going to right click and go to copy. Now, this one here, I'm going to copy the entire thing as it's pointing to a folder. It's not pointing to a file. So I'm going to copy the entire thing. And again, I'm going to hit that Windows and R key. And then I'm going to hit Control V. And that's going to take me to tool palettes, where I will copy all of it. Control C, copy. And then I'm going to come over to my AIMCAD folder here, CAD Standards. And I'm going to go to AIMCAD, and then I'm going to post it under Tool Pals here. And again, I'm just going to overwrite what I have there. Obviously, I have my real CAD standards saved somewhere else, so this way I don't mess anything up. And it should ask me if I want to overwrite. And right now it is taking a bit of time, but there it is. So I'm going to hit, replace all the files in the destination. And it should write these very nicely. Perfect. And then I will go back to here. I will hit Browse, and I'm going to point now to my location for tool palettes, which is going to be under CAD Standards, AIMCAD, and Tool Palettes. And there it is right there. Hit OK. So now whatever I do customize tool palettes, or if you had company-wide tool palettes, you can kind of put them in here, path everybody to it, and then any changes you make, kind of nicely actually, if it's in a main network location, is everybody will always get the latest updates on whatever you kind of change in your tool palettes. The only downside is other users may want to customize it as well, and I don't think it's going to play nicely with making it read-only. But your mileage may vary based on your network and your situation. Again, I'm using OneDrive to manage everything across the company. So it's easy. Everything kind of syncs, and I can control what users can and cannot modify. And everybody kind of has their own user thing, and they can kind of do whatever they want to do. As pretty much everybody at AIMCAD is considered a power user, meaning you don't step in their way. You let them customize as much as they want, as they'll be able to figure it out how to put it back together. All right. So that's pretty much the gist of everything in here. So what I'm going to do is, once that's changed, is I'm just going to hit OK. Now, I have had a problem before where I didn't hit OK, and I went right to Profiles, which is our next move, and I had an issue. It didn't save anything, and I had to redo it, which was annoying. So again, I'm going to kind of learn from my mistakes just a little bit here, and I'm going to go back into Options now and just check one, make sure it's holding. There it is right there. Perfect. And I'm going to have a little bit of faith now and say, okay, it's probably going to hold. I'm going to change a few other things too as well. I'm going to change crosshair size to 100. I'm going to get rid of the paper background in paper space here. I'm going to change the color in paper space as well to a nice black color. Sometimes I'll change this to a little bit of a different color so I know whether I'm in paper space or not. It's all up to you. Your mileage may vary. Give it a shot. See what works best for you. I'm going to go to User Preferences and double check my right-click time sensitivity is turned on. Hit Apply and OK. These are all my personal settings for the ways I like to operate AutoCAD. So again, you may not be exactly like mine. And in fact, that may get annoying if you change your right-click customization. So again, I'm going to hit OK, go back into Options, and just check. Make sure everything's holding. Everything looks like it's good. And now we're going to go over to Profiles. So this is what we're going to do, is we're going to export my current profile. Now, note my current profile is currently using AutoCAD Default. So I'm going to save this one as my initials, as it really is mine, right? Because most individual users will have their own. So I'm going to call it the bcb.arg. And again, I'm saving this under my CAD Standards folder. So this might be where you want to create a users folder or something like that if you're managing a big company. But if it's just you, throw it under your CAD Standards folder and hit Save. It'll ask me if I want to replace it, as there's already one there. And I'm going to click Save there. And I'm going to import my BCB now, like so. So I'm going to go back to AIMCAD, CAD Standards, AIMCAD, BCB, ARG, Apply and Close, Apply. Okay. Now, here's the thing. So right now, when I go to here, it's still in AutoCAD Defaults. If I double click on it, nothing's going to change because it's very similar. Where this BCB ARG file is going to come into play is when you get to somewhere and all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, all my settings are back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to import here, and I'm going to put the AutoCAD defaults back. And you'll see this is just kind of replicate what typically may happen wherever you're at. So in fact, we'll hit cancel here. We'll double click on AutoCAD and we'll hit OK. So you're at a company, right? You get a new computer. It's defaulted to AutoCAD here. Now, if you look, right now I do have all my settings because I have modified this AutoCAD one. So let's go back and restore the defaults. And again, it's with defaults. There we go. So this is what's going to happen. Oh no, I lost all my settings, all my hard work, all that stuff gone. So the easiest way to get to your stuff now, because you already saved it, right? You got your initials.arg, is if you come under Profiles here, and I'm going to delete out my initials just for this example, and I'm going to re-import the BCB file. Now, the cool thing is when I double click on it, is it's automatically going to just repath everything. So now when I double click on BCB, if you notice the display changed a bit, my support files are now there, and I have all my files instantly at my fingertips. Now, sometimes you're going to come in and out of AutoCAD sometimes, and you're going to have a little bit of an issue. So let me exit AutoCAD and come back in, and let's see if it saves our settings. All right, so I opened AutoCAD back up, and guess what? None of my settings are there, and instantly I can tell because I'm missing my crosshairs are first of all small, which is one of the main reasons why I did it for this video. Also, my background is the wrong color, and I got my layout spaces here, and I got no title block or anything in there. So again, this may or may not happen sometimes. Now the cool thing about it is it's easy to recover from. So if you type in Opie, enter, you can easily just go right back to here and import your BCB ARG and get right back to all of your settings. Now, notice it isn't going to have my title block now, but if I type in Q new, there it is. Also, if I close and come back in, if it still holds it, it should automatically have my title block. So let's see if that happens. All right, but if you notice, it didn't hold it, right? So the problem here lies in the shortcut that AutoCAD uses. So let me explain. So first of all, we have two things going on. First of all, what we modified is options, right? We were in profiles. Now, sometimes what'll happen is we'll get a new computer and then everything doesn't work again, right? And we didn't save this guy. Well, the problem is when we made those modifications, meaning when we changed all the settings under here, we obviously, when we first started, we were under the default profile of AutoCAD. So everything worked fine because AutoCAD was then modified to reflect yours. Now, at a company, this is not as noticeable because the company doesn't reformat your computer every night. But if you're a student, this is where you start to notice it because every night, all those settings you made on the locally saved AutoCAD profile or the AutoCAD ARG is wiped clean and then reset. So on your home computers, you won't notice this as well either. But what happens is your AutoCAD path or target is set to path to this ARG. Let me explain a bit further. All right, so let's take a look at the default loadable icon for AutoCAD. Now, note mine says Civil 3D as AutoCAD 2018. It's basically AutoCAD 2018, but I'm using a Civil 3D version of it. So yours should still be the same. So let's click on it. Let's right click and go to Properties. Now, when you right click and go to Properties, the first thing I want you to do is just kind of look at this guy right here. So this guy right here tells us well everything is opening. This is what we call the target. Now, see where it's targeting this AutoCAD? So that is targeting the AutoCAD.arg file. So this is what tells it what profile to use when it opens AutoCAD. So when I open up AutoCAD, it's using this AutoCAD profile, meaning when I come over to here, it's using this one here, which doesn't have any of my settings because either A, I got a new computer, or B, I'm working at the school who formats the computers every day. So when I come back and sit at my exact same computer, because you'd have to do that as well, I'm losing all my settings. So the only way to do that is to take it and export it out as BCB or whatever your initials are. Or you don't even have to call it that. You can call it junk temp, whatever you want. Now, let's say, for instance, you aren't comfortable because there is a way that you can modify this target path here to target your ARG file, meaning the BCB ARG file. But let's say you're not comfortable doing that and you just want the easiest option so that when AutoCAD opens, it's always yours. So this is the easiest way to do it. So let's do this. So first of all, we notice I have two of them in here, right? So I have my BCB one, which is the one that has all of my customization settings. And I have another one in here called AutoCAD, which pretty much resets it back to default. Now, this is why, if you notice, I saved my default ones. So let's make this one this one. The easiest way to do it is to set BCB current, right? Delete out AutoCAD. Bye-bye. And then rename BCB to AutoCAD just as it was, and then hit OK. Now, if I did my homework right, and hopefully I did. When I open up, I should have my templates and all of my stuff opening right off the get-go, and my cursor should be extended across the screen like they are now. So let's reopen up AutoCAD and see if it works. Now for this one here, I'm going to do this uncut. I'm just going to go right to my icon here. You can't see me clicking it, but I'm going to click it here, and you'll see AutoCAD loading kind of half in off the screen. So this way you can see that it's going to work perfectly fine. And there it is. Now, so do you have to do this? Not necessarily, but you do have to at least do one thing every time you go to a new computer, get a new computer, or any time that basically AutoCAD is not going to be in its default mode. So you all at least have to, first of all, customize all of this. As you can see, it is now. And you may have to just import your BCB ARG every time you come to class, school, and hopefully not work. This should not be a workplace thing. If it's a workplace thing, replace the AutoCAD ARG file. So again, that may be one of the things you have to go through, and you might just have to just import this BCB ARG file every time and just double click. And basically it just loads all of your AutoCAD settings instantly for you. So it's just a very quick, easy way to get all of your settings anytime that this is back in its default location. Again, I know this was a lengthy video. We're sitting about 26 minutes right now, and I could talk much longer about it. But looking at this here, just remember, if you didn't want to go through all of that, the one steps you do need to do is just make sure that all this stuff is pathed correctly, and that when you go to profiles, you export one for yourself, and every single time if AutoCAD loses its settings, if you just remember to double click on BCB or whatever you call it, you will save yourself a little bit of time of having to repath it. If you want to make it so that every single time you open up AutoCAD, it always loads yours, then you have to do one of two things. You have to either delete this one, rename this one to this one, if you kind of get my drift. You kind of saw me do it a second ago. Or change the target path of the icon, just putting the path of the ARG file, and that will load it every time. It's also a cool trick if you work for multiple companies, that you can always have multiple different companies' standards on hand at all times. Now, again, with what we're doing here, the other thing that we have pathed, at least in this setup here, is we also have our customization settings in our tool palettes also set over to a network location. So I would never lose those. All I would have to do is go back here and again set my profile to BCB ARG, and anything I had set, like this guy up there, would come back and I would not lose my settings. So again, this has been a long video, I understand. Please post any questions or comments or anything you want explained further. Please like and subscribe to the video, of course. And this is the AIMCAD channel. This is Fearless Leader B, aka Brandon, aka B. And again, I know it's difficult. Give it a shot. See what you can do. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. Also, again, check out that description and check out the link in there too if you're interested in any sort of monthly CAD support packages that we offer at the company. Again, it just helps support the channel as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.